Don't know the power.
The math is unfunnable.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get to the chopper!
Press go up.
Gigantic fusion reactor that just works.
Multiple income streams and real yield.
Ooh, yeah!
Sheets can no longer dump on your heads. The revolutionary decentralized finance protocol. Fusion reaction in T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Fusion! You don't know the power.
The math is unfunnable.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
The mothership.
And what's it gonna do?
Everybody excited?
Oh, hell yeah.
Give my creation! Fusion.
Get ready to rumble.
Fusion.
Shout out to Cool Sheet. That song just hits.
What's up, everyone? And welcome to EMP.Money. This is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. My name is AJ. I'm the team lead here, and we have a very special AMA as always. EMP Fusion is taking over the DeFi space. The hype is real. We have a ton to go over. The AMA train has been in full effect, full steam ahead, and we are just getting started. So we'll talk about all that today and more. But before we do, I want to introduce my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA. LA, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Amazing. Really, really amazing. Again, I know you share in the sentiment of EMP being a massive success, Fusion that is, and yeah, the energy is high. We're burning a candle at both ends, but it's been an incredible success so far. So a lot to talk
Yes.
about, right? Yep.
Oh my gosh, yes. Before we get started, can we get a thumbs up? I am at 75%. AJ's at 137%. Is the volume more equal, or do I need to get turned down and he needs to get turned up some more?
Yeah, let
Let
us
us
know.
know.
We've been trying to even out the levels, so yeah.
Let us know.
All right. Awesome.
But yes, very exciting times. We've been on a massive run, and we're both a little bit tired, but the adrenaline is pumping through our bodies to keep us going.
Yeah.
And the smoothies help also on my end.
Yeah, no doubt. I think LA's been surviving on smoothies. I've been surviving on just caffeine. And yeah, we're 16 AMAs in, but it's been an incredible launch so far. So we're gonna go over all the Fusion updates, a lot of questions that we didn't get to in the last AMA, some other updates in the ecosystem overall. But again, what an incredible run so far. It hasn't even been a week, LA, and we're seeing our peg and our locked EMP way ahead of schedule. So
Yes. Oh, I just wish that absolutely everyone could just see the full picture and the full vision of what we see in every step of the plan. I think everyone sees the peg portion of the plan, which is only the very first stage. And I think we're going to go over that more tonight.
for
But it's
sure.
only one small piece of the plan and the whole strategy behind Fusion succeeding and the long-term success of Fusion and everyone winning together. And there's tangible wins that you can see and evidence, and then there's a lot of other things happening behind the scenes that are all going in the exact right direction that you can't yet see, that you'll very soon see the evidence of. And it's kind of a ripple effect. And Peg is just the first sign of that we were all excited to see, but there's so much more coming. And so it's so important to realize this all kind of happens in stages, and Peg is just this first really exciting stage of that we're seeing, and it's all going exactly where we planned it to.
Amazing. Yeah, 100% LA, and we'll talk a lot about the long-term goal today. Even in the AMAs, like I said, we've done 16 AMAs so far, and we still have 11 more to go. And that's just in our first round of advertising. We have a whole nother follow-up round. Again, hopefully when, or not, like I say, if, but when we recover Peg, that will also drive the hype. And yeah, I mean, the really cool part is everybody that we've spoken to so far is like genuinely excited about Fusion. Again, I hate to use the word influencers, but a lot of the, KOLs or key opinion leaders in the space that have gone through the trials and tribulations of highly inflationary protocols. Again, I'm not gonna name names, but I'm sure a lot of you know, what has happened over the last 2.5 years in DeFi, and 99.9% of those protocols have failed and have died. Our concept, the innovation, what we, have been building for the last year, and all the pitfalls that we solve, with these Ponzi-nomic and highly inflationary protocols, um, is really getting these people and DeFi as a whole excited for all of it, especially when the rewards are fueled by real revenue. And again, it's amazing to see literally every AMA that we've done. Um, I think that they're starting to get it. They have that light bulb moment, LA, right? And they are
Yes.
hyped. Yeah,
I have to say, like, we have done an extreme number of AMAs, not, and I'm not referencing the ones that we've done here in the community, because obviously everyone knows that's a lot, but
for sure.
we've done a lot of external AMAs throughout the last 2.5 years, and a lot with the same people. Although, every time we do one of these, we try to expand and reach new people as well. But we do have our favorites that we like to go to each time as well. And we've built really great connections with them and their communities. And um, the reason I'm going there is because I attend every single AMA, and I take very thorough notes about how each one goes and how many people are attending. And I have notes on all of the ones that we've been on so far on this AMA run, and how many people were there at the beginning of the stream, how many people were there in the middle of the stream, how many people were there at the end of the stream, how the host was, what their energy was like, how they felt about Fusion. Like, I take notes about everything so that next time when we go to book them, I know if I want to rebook them, if I felt like it was worth what we paid for it, like all of that. But the point is, I have those notes from previous AMA runs, from Spark Swap and Cedo Swap and all of these things they've all, and I feel that these hosts have a lot more excited about conversion. And it's not that they haven't been excited in the past. Definitely have. Has every so jacked up now. I think part of that they're very excited to see us back to peg because it's absolutely unheard of for the protocol to have back to peg when all of the protocols the more except for a few that also still hang there, but peg. So they've seen things last year and a half, and now they're a part of this explosive exactly what. Did you hear any of that? Because I think I lost connection.
LA, are you there?
Yeah, I was
Oh man.
talking that whole time,
All right.
and
Yeah, and I'm having major difficulties on my side too. I was gonna stop you, but everything was breaking up for me as well. All right. Mic check. Can everybody hear me and LA
oh,
now? Yeah.
I was on a giant tangent for a good 5 minutes there.
Oh man, we missed it. So yeah, I don't. Can you remember enough to recap really quick?
Oh my lord, it was like I was in such a zone there.
Oh, bummer. All right. Well,
Oh
they're
man.
saying that we're
All
back.
right, let me start again. Okay. Where did you hear any of it when I began talking or no?
Barely, like literally the first 2 minutes.
Okay. So, oh gosh, okay. So, what I was saying is we have done a lot of AMAs with some of the same hosts and some new hosts over the last, 5, 6, 7 AMA runs. And I take extremely detailed notes. For this particular AMA run right now, I have a whole list that I have right in front of me. I take notes on every single AMA that we do. I never miss one. I write down how many people showed up at the beginning of the stream, in the middle of the stream, how many people were there when we closed out the stream. I write notes about the host's energy, and if I felt like they were excited about what we were talking about. I write about the quality of their questions, and if I felt like they did their homework and their research before we started, if I felt like it's worth it to hire them again for the next AMA run, if I felt like they're genuinely excited to be there with us today, and everything in between. I write notes on whatever I can think of while we are talking to them. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because I have the notes from our previous few AMA runs, and I genuinely feel like this time around the hosts have been so much more excited to talk about Fusion. And it's not that they haven't been excited about what we've recently launched in the past with SparkSwap and Swap, because they have. But there's just something so special about Fusion, because some of these hosts, especially some of the ones that we've been working with over the last couple years, they have been there with us through this entire hero's journey. And I know you guys have heard me talk about that in the past, but they have been there through all of these trials and tribulations with us. They've witnessed it all. They've seen us building this monster of an innovative project over the last year and a half. They've seen us talk about everything that Fusion is going to be and what it's going to entail and what it's going to mean for the future of DeFi. And now we've launched this amazing protocol, and it is everything we said it was going to be. And Peg is rising. And, they're not used to seeing other DeFi protocols go back to Peg after 2.5 years. So that in itself is so gosh darn exciting. And I am seeing this sparkle in people's eyes, even though a lot of them aren't even on camera. I'm hearing it in their voices. I am seeing it in the quality of their questions. I'm seeing that they have been hanging out in our chats and on our community AMAs to listen in and find out more before even getting on the AMAs with AJ, because they're that like genuinely curious and excited to find out about Fusion before hearing it from him on their AMA with him. And that says something, and that is just so enjoyable to be on those AMAs listening, and it's just a very good sign, and I'm very excited about the direction that things are going in.
I love it, LA. That was perfect. See, you
There
can
was a
do it
lot more
twice in
that
a
I
row.
said, but I
Yeah.
can't remember the rest. So
Yeah, that was a tangent in a good way, 100%. And yeah, I mean, again, any of you that have listened to more than one or two AMAs, you know exactly what LA is saying. And yeah, I mean, that alone is powerful. I know, there are a few that come to mind that were doing daily content, for other protocols that ended up not being sustainable. And now they are even more excited to do daily coverage of EMP Fusion, knowing that it is fully sustainable and something that will only continue to grow as we grow and add more and more revenue streams to what we're doing. So, all right, amazing
and
stuff.
some of these hosts we've seen on their dashboards are like some of our biggest investors, own
Yeah.
more than 1% of the protocol.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, not only are they excited about it, but they're putting their money where their mouth is, which again shows the commitment to what we're doing for sure. So, all right, we have a lot to get to today, but that I think sets the tone really well for what we have coming. Again, all of you that are here, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this AMA out with again people that may have been hearing about Fusion, but now want to get involved. These AMAs are perfect for that. So, and before we get into a little bit more LA, I wanted to share some bullish stats as well. So we are just under 28 million EMP that has been sacrificed into Fusion, which means, again, factoring in the Treasury and team wallets and other locked contracts, we are at a bare minimum of 53% of the circulating supply is now off the market and locked inside Fusion. So again, every day it's more and more EMP that goes away. That results in a supply shock, and with the buy and burn mechanism of people buying EMP and essentially burning it into Fusion, that is why the chart and peg are healthily going up and to the right. Again, exactly how we said. We are not, fortune tellers. We can't predict the future, but we can make some very educated, predictions based on the math alone. And, in the words of myself in the Cool Sheet video, the math is unfuddable. And that is just, again, something we've never seen in DeFi before. So, and with that, what Peg just before the stream, LA Peg was at broke the .3 mark, correct?
Yes, 3021 currently.
All right,
Badass.
and still climbing.
Woo!
Awesome, good
I
stuff.
wanna I wanna read one of the comments that just like gave me all the feels, okay, from Simon. Started 2 years ago with $400, now at a microgrid value of $8,565. Over the moon is just manic crazy value. Loving it, guys. Like,
Amazing.
whoa. Do you not get all the feels when you
Yeah.
read that?
Totally.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that goes to show those that have been with us for the longest and were accumulating EMP at, 6 cents, uh, they're reaping the immediate reward right now, with that microgrid value. And again, obviously, on paper, it is a bit of dashboard money or what we call, unrealized gains. But, as soon as we're back to peg, that microgrid value is 100% fair market value at peg. And so again, as long as you're not looking to get rich overnight, which this protocol is not designed to do. All of the gains and upside potential are really, amazing. So shout out to you, Simon. That's amazing, brother. So, all right. Ella, do you want to talk a little bit about eShare as well? We have some updates on eShare, and then I'll go into a little bit more game theory behind it as well.
Yes, there's been a lot of chat about eShare because the eShare farm has been unlocked. And quite honestly, it's the eShare price is exactly kind of going how you would expect the day that the eShare farm unlocks. Honestly, it's not surprising whatsoever. So we want to dive into some chat about eShare. And there's so much bullishness to chat about when it comes to eShare. So there's going to be a lot of chit chat about eShare today in the AMA,
For sure.
which I think is important. So um, the first thing is I want to talk about the fact that eShare plays a big role in the APRs in Fusion when it comes to the emissions portion. So if you're selling eShare at the bottom, you're really shooting yourself in the foot because, uh, not only is liquidity intentionally low on eShare right now to prevent those who are selling from dumping on our heads, but you're also reducing the amount that you're earning in Fusion if you're selling your eShare, because as the eShare price lowers, your APRs lower, but not only do your APRs lower, but what you're collecting in energy rewards are also worth less when they go to buy EMP if you are BBEing, or when they go to buy ETH or BNB or USDT when you're claiming from your batteries. And so you're losing out if you're selling your eShare. Even if you're just selling your eShare flat out and you're not in Fusion at all, you're losing out because you're selling at the bottom right before we're about to work on getting eShare to healthy levels again. So, in a nutshell, do what you want because it's DeFi, but it's not very smart.
For sure.
But where else were we? We have an extremely, extremely strategic plan, not only when it comes to Peg and getting back to Peg, but I hope you all realize that that plan very much includes eShare and getting eShare back to extremely healthy levels. And no, that does not mean that it falls only on us and the Treasury and the team, but it does mean that we have a very intentional strategic plan in place for both Peg and eShare. But it's important to realize that everything has to happen in the correct timing. And right now, when the eShare farm just got unlocked and a lot of people who do plan to sell are going to sell, it's not necessarily that today is the right timing to implement that portion of the plan at this exact moment. And AJ can go further into that.
For sure.
But I just want to emphasize that everything so far is going exactly to plan. And whenever you have a plan in place, you don't just execute it all willy-nilly and do the steps out of place. You have to do the steps of a plan in order for it to work the way that you envision.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Again, this is all great info. I want to elaborate on a few things. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the way EMP Fusion is set up, in the beginning, the number one goal right now is recovering PEG. And with the BBE and the farms unlocking and everybody hyped around PEG recovery, there is a lot of additional selling pressure on eShare that we will be mitigating in the future. And once we get to peg, then the entire system can really function. Not right now, it's on fire as it is, but once we are at peg, the system goes into overdrive or turbo mode, and that is when, again, eShare prices should definitely become more and more healthy. Again, that's not financial advice and that isn't a time frame, but the whole idea is that, the more revenue that we drive to the protocol, we have to buy eShare with that revenue before we reward it. And because there's always a percentage of what we buy getting burned, then there is a net positive effect on the price of eShare over the long run. So, eShare is still highly speculative. Nothing has changed there. eShare also is a great representation, at least psychologically, of the health of the protocol. So as we get back to peg, that also gives the psychological value to boost eShare. And I think, again, those that have been accruing eShare, when you're converting it to peg or selling it now to build your ownership, that might not be the best idea. But again, that's not financial advice. That's all to you to do what you would like to do. But again, all of this is a very short-term thing that we work through, and then we really see the potential kick in with eShare overall. And honestly, again, like LA said, all of this is already working as intended. And we've said all along, eShare is very volatile. And as the price of eShare goes down, then that means we're even able to buy and burn more eShare because the dollar value is less. So it is still a self protecting mechanism. And again, as long as people don't start to flood their own bags about the price of eShare, it will all work out in the long run. And again, I mean, the economics are just unfuddable because a buy and burn will ultimately lead to a price up and to the right. I mean, we saw it with EMP, and we'll see it with eShare again. So yeah, all right. I think that covers a lot of what we wanted to with eShare. Obviously, we have a lot more too with APRs. Again, I mean, people were so focused on the APR, but you're just not getting the full picture. And so those that are getting the full picture, they realize we're still, not even a week out from the launch, and that the goal right now is to just let the system um, start, revving up, so to speak, that everything will become incredibly more powerful over the long run. So, yeah, again, LA, I know we have a lot more to go over, but was there anything else you wanted me to elaborate on with what we already talked about?
I think that's good for that part because I have a whole other eShare section at
Yeah.
towards the end of the stream too.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. And if anybody has questions, again, please feel free to type in the chat, or put it on our Discord in the question section. So,
But I do want
yeah.
to just emphasize that, right now, um, while we're still offering this peg bonus, a lot of people are still selling their eShare for EMP to sacrifice. And while we just unlocked the eShare farm, a lot of people are, newly unlocked eShare, selling their eShare just because they have access to it again. And, when you haven't had access to certain funds for a while, you have that shiny object in front of you. So keep in mind that right now is not necessarily the perfect timing for us to start that portion of the plan. But when we are closer to being back at peg, there's going to be a lot less of a reason for someone to sell their eShare for EMP to take advantage of the peg bonus because they're going to get the same value pretty much for sacrificing straight eShare as they would straight EMP. So there's a lot more reason to hold on to your eShare. And therefore, if they have a lot of excess eShare, it gives them something to do with it because they can, they can sack it directly to build up their central grid. And therefore, a lot of the eShare is going to be locked up in the system. And there's not a lot of eShare, period. And there's a lot of EMP. There's 60 million EMP. There's not a lot of eShare
Yeah.
in comparison.
Yeah. No
And
doubt.
so when a lot of that eShare starts to get locked up, it will be harder and harder for that price to go down once we get it to a healthy place. And so you know, when it's actually in an ideal timing and spot for us to start working on building it back up and getting it to a healthy place, you know, that's when that machine and that part of the plan can really get revved up. And you know, that is part of the plan to get the APRs higher in the system. And so we're going to move into, you know, other parts of the AMA talking about APRs and stuff. But if you are judging the entire future of the protocol off the first few days, when we've barely even scratched the surface of, you know, recovering the ecosystem, you're not seeing the full picture at all.
Yeah, no doubt, LA, 100%. I think that's what we as a community just need to keep driving home. And again, I mean, even if people got in and are upset, they can sell their microgrid, and that is the best part of how this system has been built, is that those fudders and those, people that just want to destroy the protocol for whatever reason, they cannot, negatively impact the central grid. And so all of that again is super bullish for us long term. And yeah, I mean, again, even with eShare, even today alone, I think we burned about 1,000 eShare just from all the fees that we've been accumulating, even some eShare that was held in the Treasury, just to start that momentum on eShare as well. So make sure that when you look on chain, you're also looking at the dead wallet addresses. They show up on chain. Those are the burn addresses, and you should start seeing both EMP and eShare continually burning as we all grow. And like LA said, I mean, there is very little eShare available. I think total is about 58,000. And that is only going to be, even though eShare is inflationary, after February, um, when we go through the next halving, and who knows, even before that maybe, but definitely after that, eShare will most likely be deflationary just because of all the volume that we're doing on eShare and that percentage burn. So, yeah, awesome stuff. All right, you want to talk a little bit about, I think, again, overall, Fusion has just been incredibly, uh, bullish, and the energy, pun intended, has been very positive. But I think the only negativity that's coming around is from people who really just didn't seem to read the white paper or listen ahead of launch. And we wanted to have a discussion about that. So Ella, do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So there's been a lot of talk and a little bit of negativity, and I'm assuming it's really not from any of you who are listening to this AMA, because a lot of you I see you popping up in the chats are the people who are notoriously the most positive. But there's been some negativity in the chats from people who just didn't seem to listen ahead of launch, and we really want to have a discussion, just a little discussion about this topic, because ahead of launch we were so clear about painting um, some expectations for everyone, because we didn't want expectations to go in the wrong place. And we stated multiple times that, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and everything wasn't going to be perfect and absolutely booming one day in. That great lasting things take a little bit of time to build and grow, and that we wanted to build up in an organic way that would be lasting. And so for some people to judge the entire future of the protocol based on the first few days and then act like the sky's falling, it's just honestly a little bit dramatic. I have a question for you. Would you get engaged to be married and be engaged for a year and a half and then get married and move in with your spouse, and then in 3 days of living together, get annoyed by certain little tiny things that they do. Like, let's say that they, leave the cap off the toothpaste and it spills on the counter, and every day you have to clean it up and it annoys you. Or maybe they leave their wet towels on the bathroom floor. And would you then, get so annoyed by those little things in the first 3 days of your marriage that you would spend all day calling everyone you know, negatively complaining about it and saying that you're ready to get divorced? Probably not, let's be honest. Because
For
you
sure.
wouldn't judge the first few days of something that you've been building up towards for a year and a half of your life or longer by the first few days over a few little things. When you think about it like that, it seems really dramatic, right? Well, it's the same thing here. Good things take time to build. And yes, this took a year and a half to build. So if it takes a few more days or a week for, this build up towards, really getting things into a seamless place, what is a few more days or what is a week? Honestly, don't judge the entire future of the protocol by a few days. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, a hundred
Um,
percent, and especially like you said, LA, for those, I think that have been building up this anticipation over the last year and a half that we've been talking about Fusion and building out something amazing. You know, there has to be an expectation. I mean, again, the money cannot just be printed out of thin air anymore. I mean, that was what was a major downfall in the original EMP protocol. And obviously, again, we had a lot of stopgaps where money really wasn't printed out of thin air, but it is inflationary. And so all those things that people are maybe used to or had the expectation of with, multiple hundreds or even 1,000% APRs, that is not sustainable long term. And again, we'll talk about APR in a minute, but to Ella's point, it would be so sad to me that somebody had our back this entire time. We're finally launching. We're recovering peg. Everything is amazing. Um, and these people, again, hypothetically, are just, it didn't meet their expectations, and they leave or they don't want to be part of EMP anymore. That would be, again, it's no skin off our back. In fact, we probably, prefer that because we can buy their microgrids and have ownership of our own. But it just, again, it's very short-sighted. And so don't let your emotions take over. Really just sit back and say to yourself, has EMP ever done us wrong? And have they delivered on everything that they said they would deliver on? And that answer is yes. So again, it's just a matter of being a little more patient, letting the dust settle, letting us get to peg, letting us continue to build revenue streams, and literally, within at this rate, within a couple of months, there may not be any more EMP in existence, and at that rate, again, we see a whole nother wave of FOMO because people can't get in anymore, and they have to buy microgrids from other people that may or may not be willing to sell those microgrids. So, the whole, again, flywheel is really remarkable, and everything in that flywheel is working 100% as intended. So yeah, go ahead, LA. I know you
I
had
know one
a,
thing, AJ. They won't be getting their hands on any of mine.
exactly. Yeah, totally. That's what I said. Us as a treasury, us as team members, we're buying all the sacrificing all the EMP we can, and buying our own microgrids. So we
It was so much so that I literally claimed $11 worth of my Node EMP and sacrificed it today just so I could get a little more in there.
Yeah, little by little, 100%. Yeah, well, and we'll talk about nodes too at the end or in a minute here about our legacy contracts. But yeah, I mean, again, I think and we're just bringing this to light, again, not all of you that listen to these AMAs, this is definitely not applicable, but the reason we're bringing it up is that you can help us, communicate with the bigger community on all of these things that maybe they don't see at the moment. So, all right, awesome. Anything else in this section, LA?
No, I think we covered that
All right,
thoroughly.
awesome. All right, now moving on to another hot topic, APR. So, again, you want to give a little overview and then I'll elaborate.
Yes. So if you've noticed, we took the APR section or the APR uh,
Calculation. Yeah.
calculation off the site for now because obviously it was a source of both a lot of confusion, negativity, and annoyance. And so it's important for you to understand that the APRs are something that are pretty challenging to perfectly display because there's a lot of income sources coming in from both outside and inside of Fusion. Some are automatic, some are manually injected, some flow all throughout the day, some are just once or twice a day. And so it's hard to get one formula that accounts for all of that perfectly. But we are working on it, and we have some of the brightest minds working on it. And so uh, we will nail it. But until then, we have removed it from the site. But we have gotten the daily rewards to display a lot more accurately. And obviously, as time goes on, that will continue to be more and more and more accurate. But I do want to mention that if you are doing manual math on your own, please make sure that you take at least a 48-hour chunk to judge it by because those manual injections are being injected at random times throughout the day. It might be once a day, it might be twice a day, and they're differing amounts, based on what's coming in from those outside ecosystems. And it's not the same every day because it's real revenue. And so um, it you need to take a good enough amount of hours as a chunk to do that math on, or else it's just not going to be even remotely accurate.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. Again, we are doing everything in our power to be as transparent as humanly possible. APR is what we call a lagging indicator, or it is an equation based on the what has happened in the past, not what has happened in the future. And with only having less than a week of data, on top of everything LA said about the inconsistencies of when the rewards are distributed, it makes APR literally, the most complicated thing in terms of UI in the whole protocol. So, that being said, though, we are working on a solution. The daily rewards are pretty accurate right now. And another really important thing that I wanted to bring up, when you are doing the math on your own, again, we can provide, an equation that will help you do that on your own. When you're doing it though, you really need to do it, especially in the beginning, on the actual investment that you've made to EMP, not necessarily your microgrid value. And the reason that is because again, true APR is only calculated on your initial principal, not on the gains that you're getting on top of the yield. And that again is another thing we see everybody complaining about APR that it's not accurate or maybe the rewards are not what people expected, but nobody mentions the 4 or 5x depending on where you got in on your microgrid value. So again, try to see the forest through the trees and know that everybody is absolutely getting the most value possible right now as we spin up as we spin up Fusion itself, and that is done on purpose again to jumpstart the ecosystem and make sure everybody's sacrificing. We're getting back to peg. We're removing supply. We're getting everybody in position to then really, move into the next phase of EMP Fusion. So I just want to make a lot of those key
Yeah,
points. And the whole idea is that the APR will still be very attractive when we are at peg and people are getting in at market value, because by then we're able to scale our revenue up and have, Honorverse Madness or whatever else we develop in that amount of time to always continually drive more and more revenue into EMP Fusion. So even a year from now, if you're listening to this AMA as a recording, you are absolutely still able to earn extremely well in Fusion, granted that somebody will sell you a microgrid because, again, like Ella said earlier, I know a lot of the people that are gunning for 1% ownership plan to live off of the yield and really never sell their position. So, again, another important reason that you get in while you still can, because there could be a possibility that nobody can get into Fusion if there is nobody willing to sell or no more EMP on the market.
totally. One last thing that I have barely heard anyone talk about, which is just so surprising. Not totally surprising because people tend to talk about things that upset them more than excite them for some odd reason in life, but not me. I
Me
like to
neither.
scream from the rooftops when I have good news. Can't hold it
Exactly.
in. But the fact that the BBE, when you see the amount of rewards sitting there, but then you actually compound the amount of rewards that get compounded when it buys the EMP and implies the peg bonus. It's actually way more than what's written on the dashboard.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
nobody's talking about that. They're all talking about APR, but yet if you're BBEing, you're getting so much more than what's written on the screen. But nobody noticed because they were all so busy focusing and obsessing about the APR.
Yeah, it's so true, LA. And again, just to clarify, the BBE gets the peg bonus under reward. So a base APR, of say, whatever it might be, 50%, 100%, that can be up to 3x, especially when we're still below peg, on the microgrid value. So again, uh, yeah, it's all in how you look at it, and no matter how you look at it, it makes money. And I think people are just, again, have this unrealistic expectation of APRs that are just not sustainable. So, awesome. Yeah, I think we covered everything. And yeah, when you hear somebody say it, again, help educate them or tell them to listen to this AMA and go through the actual math. Because that's another really frustrating part for us as a team is that when we do see fudders, 9 times out of 10, it's because they can't do math on their own. And that, that's not me being a jerk. It's just that really impacts the protocol when that isn't even the reality of what is happening. So, yeah, cool. All right.
Really.
Yep, you want to move on to the white paper, LA?
Yes.
All right.
So we do very much so want to suggest to all of you and remind you to please read the white paper. We get it that it's very long and that it may not be the most enjoyable experience to read such a long white paper. Trust me, I know, because before putting it out, I read it like 8 times that day to make sure there were no typos. So I get how long it is. But I promise you that a lot of your questions that you have are actually already answered in there. Here's a perfect example. Did you happen to know that when you have pending rewards in your battery, but then you go to reallocate your battery distributions, your rewards will auto claim for you? Or that if you have pending rewards in your BBE, but you sacrifice more, that your rewards will auto compound for you? I've heard dozens of people freaking out in the chats about it. Where did my rewards go? They disappeared. if they had read the white paper, they would know exactly that that was about to happen because it's all written in there.
For sure.
It would cause you a lot less confusion and panic in certain situations if you can inform yourself ahead of these things happening for the first time. And then you don't have to be scared because you already know it's about to happen. So we're always here to help. Obviously, like, we want to answer your questions, but we don't necessarily want to answer the same questions over and over again that are already answered in the white paper because it's just not an efficient use of time. We would rather you read the white paper first and then answer questions on anything that's still not clear for you.
Yep, 100%. Again, we pride ourselves on the education, and we will be doing more tutorials and educational videos. And there's been some incredible questions and suggestions that we're happy to go into. The feedback has been amazing, and please don't get us wrong. We appreciate that, and we live for that. It makes the whole protocol even better. But like y'all is saying, a lot of these are very, very basic that we've gone over literally 100 times, both before the launch and now after the launch. So if all of you again can help as a community as well, answering some of those publicly, that will also take a lot of pressure off the admin team. Shout out to Stinky and obviously LA, all you guys, Jerusik, Vino. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But all of you have been really, really helpful in the chat. So all of you listening to the AMA that are here for the right reasons, if you could help out as well, that'd be really appreciated.
Big shout out to all of our helpers. Like, oh my gosh, it would have been impossible to get through this launch seamlessly without so many people that have been helping behind the scenes, whether it was with the beta testing, with especially these first, this first week that we've been going through with helping in the chats to answer questions, just all of it. It's been so incredibly helpful because the amount of like messages in the chat has gone up at least tenfold, and it is, as much as we try to be everywhere at the same time, we're not superhuman. We try to appear to be superhuman, but
Yeah,
we're just,
totally.
we're not. So it's very, very helpful to have such incredible community members, honestly. So big shout out to everyone that's been helping out.
Yeah, no doubt. So, all right, awesome. Moving right along then. Again, we're trying to get through this. It's already been an hour, man. The time flies, LA. Holy cow. You know that you're onto something when you are explaining it, and it feels like we've been here 10 minutes. So, all right, a few last updates for everybody, and then we'll get into the highly anticipated questions and go over those as well. So, we did want to just give a quick update on the legacy migration. Obviously today, the Eshare farm unlocked. That was part of the process. We're still working on the other legacy contracts being migrated. Again, our developers have been, putting the work in, and honestly, the migrations are really specific, and they take a lot of time, and they're also very expensive. So migrating a contract can cost up to 3 BNB to migrate that data. So we want it to be very something that we don't have to do twice, and we need all hands on deck when we are doing the migrations. So again, that's just some more transparency on why they're not being done immediately after we launch. We just want to make sure again we triple and quadruple check before we do it. And again, that is why when we have launched literally over 100 smart contracts, not one of them has been exploited. So just bear with us on that. Until then, you can still claim into your wallet, and then break the LP or use the EMP ETH itself, and just sacrifice that directly. So again, it's a few more steps and a little bit more gas, but the overall concept is still the same, even as it stands right now. So when this does happen, rewards will be paused for the 1 day. Again, that is part of doing business. We apologize that you will lose out on a day of rewards, but unfortunately, it is what it is, and there's no way around that. And we just do it, and we get it done as fast as possible. And that's another reason why we have to do one by one, so that we can, do the migration within a few hours and not multiple days. Because if it took multiple days, then you would lose out on multiple days of rewards. So we will make an announcement when we start this process and when it has been completed. So we'll be fully transparent and give updates along the way if for whatever reason you need to know. But right now it's just a matter of letting the devs dev. So, all right, anything you want to add to that, LA?
No, I think that was pretty clear.
All right, amazing. So, we also have another reminder of LevelX and Cultivator. Do you want to go over that real quick, and then I'll elaborate?
For sure. So we just wanted to remind everyone what we had mentioned quite a few times, just as another reminder. We are just getting through this initial week and a half of all this launch craziness and, 16 AMAs and all that. And then we'll be looking at the snapshot from Cultivator and the spreadsheet from LevelX and crediting the microgrids of those who are on our list. It will be a partial credit, so don't expect a 100% equivalent or anything, but we do want to make things right and do everyone a solid, so that is coming shortly. But we did want to remind everyone of kind of the time frame of when to expect that, and that it is coming shortly.
Perfect. Yep. Again, if you're not familiar with LevelX or the Cultivator snapshot, then nothing to worry about. Those that were familiar, everything LA said applies, and yeah, we'll get it out ASAP. Again, just another thing in our repertoire that we've never forgotten about or abandoned anybody, and if anything, this is going above and beyond of what we were really obligated to do. But we understand that it's not fun, and so we're doing our best. And the great part is that a lot of those people are just wanting to get more EMP for sacrifice. So we'll let everybody know. And again, in terms of any reimbursement or even giveaways that we do, all of that EMP is already accounted for. So we're never ever printing or inflating more EMP. It will not dilute any of you inside of Fusion, and that's one of the reasons why we've been so hesitant on the people that want to sacrifice their entire detonator positions, because again, we don't want to dilute. The EMP has to come from somewhere. So, all right, I think that covered that part. Swing traders, LA. Again, if you give a breakdown, and I'll go into some detail.
Yeah, so far when it comes to PEG and the EMP charts as well, we've been pretty much experiencing a very steady rise almost up in one direction, up and to the right. But we do want to continue to mention this because we do know that it's very easy to get emotional when you do see any kind of dip downwards, even if it's just a tiny one. So as much as it feels just absolutely amazing seeing PEG move straight upwards every day, just please know that it will be very unlikely for it to be straight up in one solid line all the way to the top. So we do expect to see some swing traders along the way. I'm sure that there's certain price points that they're looking to have to hit before they, sell, and that is totally okay. We expect it, we've planned for it, and it is absolutely all baked into our plans. But we want all of you to expect it too and to prepare your mind for it so that the chats are not filled with sad people talking about, oh my gosh, who dumped on a day when it happens, and we see a little bit of a dip because we know that it's all part of the peg recovery and the journey back to peg. And when they sell, they're likely not going to buy back in at those higher levels and sell again. It's a one-time thing, so they're out.
Yeah,
And that's just part of it.
yeah, absolutely, LA. Again, I couldn't have explained it better myself. We have this all planned for, and us as a community, that is another really important factor to, bring to light is we need to be looking at the chart as a community. Again, we never talk about chart watching, but while we're in peg recovery mode, it is important that if you do see somebody, dumping EMP, or there is a bit of a dip, whether it's a dumper or just ETH itself has gone down in price, that is the number one opportunity for all of us to buy a little more EMP at a discounted value. And again, it's this game of attrition where as long as we all have that same mindset and all of us are trying to build our ownership in Fusion by buying and sacrificing EMP, then there literally is no possible way that these swing traders will be able to take advantage of the system more than once. And again, there is no way that we can eliminate, that one sell. If we could, we would have implemented that. But along the way right now, those swing traders actually are helping us get to peg even faster. And if you are a swing trader or wanting to buy low and sell high, you are going to hit a lot of price impact, especially when we are at peg. And so even if you wanted to do that, the best way is to still sacrifice your EMP and then list your microgrid at or slightly below market value to where you are still getting 100% of those gains without hurting peg whatsoever. And again, maybe even making more than if you were to just sell outright because of the price impact. So there are many mechanisms in place for you to still, help and make money. And us as a protocol, we're always looking for those microgrids that may be a bit below value, market value, to buy and take off the market on our own. So, patience is part of that, but overall, this is a very healthy way, again, of almost guaranteeing that we're able to destroy any potential swing trading and still not only recover peg, but then maintain peg.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yes.
All
Right.
right, you want to talk a little bit about post-peg recovery. So obviously we're in the pre-peg phase, but I think it's also important to talk a little bit about after we reach peg because it may happen sooner than later. Maybe over the weekend. Wouldn't that be insane? If we did hit it, but yeah, I think it's important we talk about now, just so people are prepared for sure.
Yeah. So there are different stages in our plan, like I've been alluding to this whole AMA. And I'm going to get AJ to talk about the second part of this whole thing. But it's it's a very important reminder, and we've talked about this earlier in the AMA, but all of the external revenue streams, when let's just use SparkSwap as an example. So when we earn in SparkSwap from the swapper, from the bridge, those fees that get taken off of each swap, say you're swapping PLS for DAI, it's taking a portion of whatever you're swapping. So we're exchanging that for eShare. When we get that portion of the fees that come into Fusion, we're swapping that for eShare in order to give those energy rewards out to all the users in Fusion. Now, when we start the second or third part of our plan and we start working on eShare recovery and getting eShare back to great health, every time we are buying those rewards in order to every time we're buying that e-share in order to distribute those rewards, that is having more and more of an effect because we're doing, that work simultaneously together. Right now, it may not seem like it's making that much of a difference because people are still in the phase of selling their e-share for EMP because of the peg bonus, selling their e-share because the farm just unlocked. And when there's selling going on at this rate, at the same time as us doing that buying for the rewards distribution,
For
you
sure.
just really don't notice its effects as much. But when it's happening at the same time as a concentrated, recovery effort, and we're actually actively working on recovering the health of that token, you will notice its effects a lot more. And so you'll notice the difference with that buying pressure once the e-share price is already recovering and in a healthier place. So once we can move on to that second stage, everything in our ecosystem, we'll get to that second phase where we're earning more APR, and then also where your BBEs and your earnings from your batteries are also worth more from a dollar perspective. And then AJ can go into the second part of this phase as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, that is how the flow, the workflow, is set to be. And then on top of that, we will also be implementing an EMP peg bot. So we talked about this a lot, but just to clarify, not only can this be used to help bolster rewards, but it will also help generate again, a bit of revenue to support rewards and eShare when in of itself, when we are at that point. And so again, just to break that down even further, we will have a bot that will buy and sell EMP. Again, that EMP is already accounted for, so we're not circulating EMP that's already been sacrificed. This is EMP that we own as the Treasury. And then we will be selling some if we get too far above peg, and buying when we are below peg. Again, just to maintain a bit of a ratio, and then let the community do the rest in terms of, again, even those swing traders I mentioned earlier, maybe they wait and they are, good actors, so to speak, that they just sell when we're above peg. Um, that could be another option. So there is this internal arbitrage around peg, and that's why peg is so important. But the point is, when we are at peg and then things even continue to build, we are able to use that bot as an additional revenue stream. And it doesn't go to our pocket, it goes to supporting the price of eShare and rewarding even more rewards to all microgrid holders. So we have, again, probably 10 different things up our sleeve that we haven't even implemented yet. That once we get to phase two or stage two, then those start coming online. So again, we're planning 10 steps ahead. We're playing chess and not checkers, and all of this will only benefit all of you that are here. So we just want people to understand the peg recovery process, and it will equate to a much healthier e-share price because all of that economic energy goes into e-share at that point. Because I mean, even now we have planned to have some buybacks on EMP. I know there were some people that said, "Oh, I see the Treasury buying a ton of EMP." Well, that isn't the case. I mean, overall, even from the very beginning, I think maybe we've spent about 30 grand on buying peg, which is peanuts compared to what we have in store. And all of this is happening organically, which puts our protocol and treasury funds in an incredible position to continue to earn. And I wanted to kind of just end with that. Obviously, right now as a community, the number one thing we need to focus on is buying and burning or sacrificing EMP into the microgrid. And the more of us that can really focus on that at the moment, whether it's bringing in fresh capital or maybe, liquidating some other assets and protocols that are underperforming, not our own protocols, because again, you're essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul. A lot of you have built amazing positions in Pulse and Spark, Caesar Swap, all of them, which admittedly should recover very hard once we start seeing the momentum over there. So please don't liquidate those assets. But again, there's many other ways to bring in capital that could be beneficial. Obviously, never invest more than you can afford. So don't ever put in your rent money or your grocery money or any of your emergency savings, anything like that. But again, as a community, we focus on BBE, and if you don't have any fresh capital, BBE is amazing for that. And getting back to peg. And then, those of you that are a little more savvy and know how to create LP pairs, it would also be really beneficial to the protocol if you sacrifice EMP ETH LP. Again, rather than going and buying all EMP, if you are familiar enough on how to create the LP, you still get the same dollar value, but it helps us because we're able to build our POL and have that Ethereum to again do whatever we need to do to ensure the recovery. So again, those are the really big points I want to make for the next few weeks of what we need to be doing as a community to row in the right direction. So all right, does that make sense, LA?
Yeah, for sure. I smiled today because someone in the VIP wrote, I think I found a Treasury wallet that's buying up tons of EMP and pushing peg up right now. And I smiled so big because I was like, in my head, I was like, that's not us at all. This is totally happening completely organically. That's just, someone who's bullish on EMP.
For sure.
I even messaged AJ just to triple check. I was like, we haven't been buying EMP today, right? Like, for sure. He's like, no. I knew it because he was on AMAs all day. But yeah, it's just incredible to watch all of this happening so organically. And the key message here is just things couldn't be going more or like according to plan if we tried. So
Amazing.
yeah.
All right, awesome, LA. So I think that covered a lot of the loose ends. I know we have a bunch of questions to get to as well. So you want to jump into
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I was able to answer most of the questions from Discord through writing because a lot of them were found in the white paper. But I do have 4 from Discord, and then I see some in YouTube. So the first one from Discord is, will the yield on the defenders and power-ups increase as Fusion gets rolling?
Yeah, so again, that is a bit of a tricky question. The short answer is yes, a little bit, because again, you're getting rewarded in EMP ETH or eShare BNB from those individual contracts. So if eShare goes up and BNB goes up, or EMP goes up and ETH goes up, you are getting a bigger reward in dollar value. However, we haven't really discussed, external support on detonator and reactor, which again, unless there is, support from the Treasury directly in the short term, then, it's up to the community to get involved in those contracts. However, we've said it multiple times now, the whole point of moving to Fusion is that detonator and reactor become an all DOS products. They become much more attractive because of a few reasons. Number one, we remove the selling pressure. Number two, we are still honoring all the gamification and incentives that have always been there with those contracts. and why they were popular to begin with. And we're even introducing a game theory that may make it that you're able to get more sacrifice points going into those contracts than the sacrifice indirectly. And the number one thing that is what we look at as a recovery is that we start seeing more funds going into those contracts than we see coming out, which means we have more fresh deposits than claimers. And again, that is the only thing that matters with those contracts. So we're doing everything we can to make that a reality. And you know, again, not if, but when that happens, then yeah, rewards would go up for sentinels and defenders.
Awesome. Can you please explain why BBE is the best decision right now to help getting back to peg?
Yeah, so again, not only is it the best decision to give out to pay, but it's also, again, not financial advice, the best decision for you as a participant. Because what happens is, rather than your rewards being those Eshare rewards, that are energy rewards that accumulate in the BBE, the alternative would be having them accumulate in a battery and then selling that battery uh, energy under the hood to buy a different asset, whether it's BNB, ETH, USDT, or a combination thereof. With the BBE, it's essentially selling those rewards, going on the market and buying EMP to then sacrifice on your behalf to your microgrid. So it's a twofold benefit. Um, the fact that it sells eShare for EMP. Again, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Obviously, that's more selling pressure on eShare, but it's for the greater good at the moment. That helps recover peg. And then for you, you're getting a mega bonus at today's rate, about a 3.5x on the BBE returns because you're getting the EMP bonus, peg bonus as well. So does that help allow you to do such a better job of explaining it? But I think
That was
we
a good
covered it.
job.
Okay.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, just in the simplest form, your rewards when you BBE, or in a nutshell, BBEing is compounding your rewards. They're purchasing more EMP. So that EMP is added to your ownership position. And because every time you choose to BBE, that is purchasing EMP, that is what's helping us get back to peg because of all that EMP purchasing. And so in the meantime, it is one of the best things to do right now for two reasons. One, because it's helping us get back to peg more quickly. But two, especially if you have a small to medium sized bag, it is helping you grow your ownership as quickly as possible because you're still getting that peg bonus while we are getting closer to peg. But as soon as we're back at peg, you will no longer get a peg bonus. And so until we are back at peg, it is the most beneficial option for you to use the BBE if you are looking to build your ownership to a larger position to, own more of the protocol before there potentially isn't any more EMP left on the market to be able to grow your position larger.
Yes. Perfect.
All right. We did go through this a bit, but it's always okay to reiterate. Could you go through again the underbonnet of the eShare functions? I understand it is the utility function within Fusion, but aside from that, how is it expected to rise in value along with PEG?
All right. Go ahead. One more time, LA. I'm sorry. It was breaking up.
Could you go through again the underbonnet of the eShare functions? I understand it is the utility function within Fusion, but aside from that, how is it expected to rise in value along with PEG?
Yeah, no doubt. So again, I think LA did an awesome job talking about it earlier. So definitely go back and look at the timestamp. But I can elaborate for a minute here. I mean, the whole idea is that all the economic energy of the ecosystem is pointed towards eShare as we move forward. So, you know, because of this, there's a lot more volume. There is a lot more potential fees from the marketplace and everything else that collects a fee in terms of M energy or energy. Um, and over time, that volume and that economic energy will also buy and burn a part of eShare. And because eShare will eventually become deflationary as well, we're in the same boat that we would be in for EMP itself over the long run, meaning it is a supply capped token that is always buying and burning, that has real revenue supporting it. Again, like Ella said earlier, all of the eShare rewards under the hood or under the bonnet. I love that. Under the hood, all the rewards that we get in real yield, they have to buy eShare first. So that alone, in the worst case scenario, if everybody sold every single cash out battery that there was, that is still a net neutral effect on eShare. It's not, additional selling pressure on eShare because we have to buy that eShare first. So all of those mechanisms, again, over time, should absolutely drive the price of eShare up. And that doesn't even include other utilities that we will be able to hopefully implement for eShare because, the hard part is getting the economics right. The easy part is adding utility. So that is very simple on what we do in the future, whether it's other, games or other ways to utilize your eShare. All of that will be massively helpful to, the economics. So does that help, Ella? Again, I don't know if you want to elaborate.
It does help. I was too busy giggling thinking about you wearing a bonnet.
Yeah, I love it.
Uh, no, I think we really went over this topic quite a bit. So I think that this user probably has their answer. But if not, we're happy to reiterate again on Monday. So let us know.
Yeah, no doubt. And Grover, again, shout out to Grover. Grover has been really amazing and involved over the last few days.
Yes.
He's a longtime Dex Finance team member, and it's great to see him back around for sure. But yeah, he said, wouldn't it actually be slightly net positive due to slippage and fees? And yeah, absolutely, Grover. So again, the 3% uh, fee that we're taking on all the marketplace transactions, again, results in a net positive effect, even if everybody sold, and some alpha for all of you. If you've been listening to some of our AMAs, you may already know, but we are
Oh,
looking
I was
in.
just gonna ask you if you were gonna drop this today.
Yeah, no doubt. So we're looking into again creating our own decks on BSC. So with that being said, we would also be getting all of the volume fees from EMP and eShare. So again, I may have spilled the beans a little early, but there's some great alpha for all of you that stick around um, till the very end. And again, that goes under our franchise umbrella. That will be a revenue stream not only for us, but also Dex Finance with their GDEX token.
Yes, and on Saturday we are having a fireside chat inside the DexFi community, and AJ and Jake are really going to dive deep into some of the future plans and future utility for both protocols individually, and then the all-encompassing team protocol future plans.
Totally.
Um, and so that would be a really worthwhile one to attend. It is on Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, 6 UTC.
Perfect. All right, yep. And join us then again for more, vision into the roadmap. But again, I can tell you, obviously, we had already announced our Honor versus Madness game. There's probably about 4 or 5 other revenue streams that we already have in the pipeline. So that will be really bullish for, again, not only Fusion, but the GDEX token as well. That is the token of their ecosystem that, again, has real yield supporting it.
That's why anyone who just doesn't get it and is kind of running scared in the first few days of Fusion is just going to be kicking themselves in a
Yes.
few weeks and a few months from now. They're going to be just banging their head against the wall saying, what the heck did I do? What was I thinking?
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Well, and again, that's so funny that you bring it up because that is the whole reason that we go over all this. Because, contrary to popular belief, it seems like, everybody thinks we're very self-serving, but that isn't the case. I mean,
Opposite.
yeah, it is the exact opposite. We don't want these people that have been here for so long to flood themselves out of their own bags and, like you said, LA, be absolutely devastated a month, 2 months, a year from now, where number one, they have to buy back in at a higher price, or by then they're actually not even able to get into Fusion because, again, there's no more EMP and nobody willing to sell their microgrids.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
don't be that person.
Yeah. I mean, if we were self-serving, we would literally just take our own funds and go invest them and then spend the extra 18 hours a day doing whatever we wanted.
Totally.
But we do this because we love it and we love you guys and we want all of us to win together. So we would rather, everyone do it in a way where they're able to win, not where they spend a year and a half building up only to then 3 days later sell it for half of what it's worth and then run away, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
But yeah. Anyways, last one from Discord, then we'll move on to YouTube. In the white paper, it mentioned you not needing a battery to sell your position. This functionality currently does not exist in the MVP. Could you update us? So I did want to address this one myself. I did check in with our developers on this because this is something that is kind of still being worked on. Currently, if you do want to sell part or all of your position, you do need to buy the split my position battery. Originally, obviously, we were intending that if you want to sell your full position, you do not need a battery. Currently, in the MVP, you do need to buy the split my position battery, regardless of whether you want to sell part or all of your position. But we will keep you updated on the development of that. I will go ahead and update that in the paper until the future of that develops should it change.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Well, and again, I'm glad we were able to bring this up just to give a little more clarity and transparency. The reason that it isn't available or wasn't available in the MVP is that it really has to do with our accounting process, and so we have to have certain things in place that are even though we would intend them to work differently from a coding perspective we have a lot of constraints that we have to deal with. So we're hoping that we can make this available. It may require a heavier lift than we had anticipated, and at that point we can either choose to do it with some sort of migration, or we may have to just leave it out completely. But either way, uh, you know. I know that it may be frustrating for some people that are in DOS that don't want to be a part of EMP Fusion, but buying a battery is still a much uh, more beneficial thing, not only to you and the protocol, or not only to you as an investor, but also to the protocol. So those are some things we're weighing internally, but we should have an update on this, by next week for sure.
All right, let's hop into some YouTube questions. What have we got here? Will claiming Node EMP just auto sack to the microgrid like Detto? Yes, it will once the migration has been complete.
Yep, perfect.
How will nodes pay EMP if all the EMP is off the market and locked into microgrids? When will nodes have a realistic? Okay, well, answer the first question first because there's three. There's
Yeah,
three
what?
questions.
Yeah, sorry. All right, go ahead. One more time.
How will nodes pay EMP if all the EMP is off the market and locked into microgrids?
All right, sorry. Can you hear me now? It's going in and out again. Sorry, LA. So
Yes.
yeah, the
Did you
short.
hear the question?
Yep, no, I think I got it. The short answer is all the node payouts of EMP, there is EMP in that contract. And again, that's another thing that we talk about in terms of, you know, having EMP that is no longer accessible, or at least not accessible all in one chunk. But no, the EMP coming from nodes is EMP that's already in the node contract, and you can see it on BSC scan. I think there's about 2 million EMPs still in nodes, so maybe a little bit less. But yeah, does that answer?
Yeah, that's why you've been hearing us say things like, um, you know, there's 28 million EMP sacked, and between that and what's in some of the Treasury contracts and wallets, there's 52% of the EMP locked away because there's EMP in contracts like that that is going to pay out in a slower pace, and there's EMP in other wallets and contracts and stuff like that that is essentially, in that kind of format.
Perfect. Yeah, totally.
Okay, second question: when will nodes have a realistic APR again?
Yeah, so again, the APR discussion, you know, the whole way that nodes worked in the past is no longer how they're going to function in the future. And because EMP nodes is actual EMP in and actual EMP out, we have a lot more flexibility with what we can potentially do there. So we are working on some solutions, again, as a team that would not dilute everybody, but allow you to access that EMP through the node contract that you are due in hopefully a shorter amount of time, which therefore would increase the APR. So all that is still yet to be disclosed, but know that we are working on it. And for now, again, it's just a way to continually claim and build your sacrifice.
Awesome. Are we planning a Bitcoin battery soon?
Yeah, I love it. So we actually created a spreadsheet today, or yesterday. The days are running together, but we have a whole list of potential partner batteries and other utility and blue chip batteries that we will be implementing. So we're letting the dust settle a little bit. Obviously, we have to get through the migration, but within the next few weeks, you can start seeing some new batteries pop up. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure a BTC battery would be on the top of the list. So, and please, by all means, if anybody has suggestions, I think we are gonna open up a new channel in Discord. Right, LA, for battery ideas? I think we had talked about that, but I don't know. I have to get with Chan about it, but
Yeah, I think we should open one for battery ideas and then one for fusion suggestions.
okay, perfect. So keep an eye out for those over on Discord, and yeah, keep giving us your feedback.
As long as the fusion suggestions one isn't used for people ranting about things that they're unhappy with, because that would be frustrating.
Yeah, well, and again, that's grounds for, a warning and then an eventual ban. We've been getting a little more active with that because,
I've had my band hammer out the
yeah,
last
LA
2 days.
has
I'm gonna
totally.
stay out.
LA, yeah,
Oof,
look out, LA's on a
been a
rampage.
little fierce. I've been a little fierce on Discord because
Yeah,
we've had some people that have just been writing lies. When people come for us with lies, I get real upset.
yeah, no doubt. And again, we've been probably the best team in all of crypto in terms of tolerance. But now that Fusion is here and everything is working perfectly, and we have a perfect game plan to deliver into the future, lies and FUD, especially repeated FUD, are not going to be tolerated. So.
Somebody today actually said that we have been hosting we've been like the AMA train, they've been subpar AMAs and no one's been showing up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Meanwhile, we've had some with 300 attendees, and some of the hosts have been saying this is the most people that have attended my stream in over a year, and we've had record numbers compared to the same hosts in the last two AMA runs. Everybody's had like really high numbers, so I was just like, is this person got their crack pipe out, or
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know.
They are. They're in fantasy land. With
No.
what is said. So just again, that's a warning, I guess, to those of you. We love you. We want you part of the community. We welcome constructive criticism. Um, but again, repeated FUD or lies or anything that actively brings down the energy that we're trying to convey is going to be dealt with for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, on to better things. Mail asks, I understand that the project is buying microgrids that are for sale on the market. If that is the case, will those ever come up for sale in the future?
Yeah, great question, Mal. So the short answer is no. I mean, those microgrids that we buy from the Treasury will remain from the Treasury, and any rewards that those microgrids get will then be recycled right back into Fusion. So that is really powerful because, again, it makes the microgrid or the central grid as a whole, deflationary over time. So, that will further promote the idea that unless people are willing to sell their microgrid, you may not be able to get in. So, yeah.
Ooh la la. When our rewards are BBE'd and go to the wallet, are they in BNB or wBNB? Should we add the wBNB contract address to our wallets? So we need some explanation there about what BBing is as opposed to batteries.
Yeah, so BBE wouldn't give you BNB at all. If they're talking about the cash out battery for BNB, it does give you just BNB, I believe. I don't think it's wrap
It's
BNB. Is it?
it's wrapped
It is.
BNB.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have to look at it. But so yeah, again, just wrap BNB is essentially the same thing. You can convert it one to one on PancakeSwap. It's just BNB is a gas token. And so when you're dealing with a smart contract, you have to have a wrapped asset so that it doesn't mistake the asset for gas. So all right, that would make sense then. Yeah. And yeah, you would have to add the wrap BNB address, but I think on Ravi and on MetaMask, it should automatically populate wrap BNB. It's pretty common.
If not, you can message one of us and we'll get it for you, or just in the group. But don't let anyone randomly DM you.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, we are always encouraging you to look on DBank. Again, for those of you that may have deposited and you say, "Oh my God, my rewards are gone," literally 99% of the time, it's easy to find right on DBank. You can see the transaction all in one go, right, LA? Yeah.
That's a great point. That's actually how I discovered it was wrapped, because I looked at my gas and I thought to myself, wow, my gas is getting low, but I just claimed some BNB from this battery for that very reason. Why is my gas so low? So I went onto DBank, and there was all this wBNB there, and I realized, oh, that's why.
Perfect. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yes, I'm just having a look here. Oh, Simon's doing an EMP Fusion review. That's cool. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm having to scroll all the way to the top. Does that mean that hundreds of us are sharing 827 right now? I don't know what that is in reference to. I did respond to this person in the chat, but in the future, could there be a possibility to bid on microgrids in addition to fixed pricing? So I did add this to our suggestions to the devs for the future, as Stinky Beans also suggested this during beta testing. So great suggestion, Live Free.
Yep, absolutely. And again, that will be way more important as we get to peg, because there'll be a lot more volume on the secondary market. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'm sure, again, even if it is a heavy lift where we convert everything from BNB to eShare, that could be something that we incorporate into that upgrade.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see if there's any more here. I'm getting close to the top, so we'll see if we have any more. I think that could be it.
Cool.
Just give me 1 sec, because I'm not quite there. Do you happen to have any idea what the largest microgrid like ownership percentage is so far?
Yeah, no, I love that question. Again, we are looking into doing a leaderboard. I know off the top of my head, the largest one I've seen personally is Crypto Kings. I think he has about 1.1% ownership, and his microgrid value is like $400,000. So, he's been buying EMP, all along the way, and he's really fired up to start promoting EMP as well. So definitely go give him a sub, and be supportive of his journey as well. Again, Crypto Kings on YouTube. Yeah.
Incredible. All right, I think that's it. If I missed any of them, can you please add your question to the AMA questions on Discord? But I think I got all of them.
Cool.
Congrats again, guys, on we have hit over 0.3 peg. We are on our way up. We are currently 69% below peg, and we are very close approaching 69.69% below peg, and we are going to make it.
I love it. Hell yeah, LA. Again, I know both of us are running on empty. I know I'm going to be trying to get to bed early again. We had a few AMAs cancel or move dates, so I had a little bit of a break earlier today. But we're going right into the weekend with more AMAs, and then literally doing it all over again on next week, right? Yeah.
I did give you 1 day off on Sunday to rest,
Yeah.
though.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Sunday, the day of rest. Right on, LA. Oh man.
Sorry, we do have one more question.
Yeah.
Molly wants you to talk about L1 Dex. We don't really have an update on that, but any kind of update you can give.
Yeah. I mean, same status quo. We don't have a legitimate explorer, even though they say they have one. It really isn't. We are trying to build with the infrastructure that we have, but we're not going to build a multi-million-dollar DEX without having everything bulletproof on the chain itself. So we've not abandoned it by any means. We're still 100% supportive of what we can hopefully eventually build. It's just the reality of the situation. Now, if there is a worst case scenario that we aren't able to build on L1 Dex, then or on L1X, L1 Dex, then we can utilize other interoperable solutions, again, that technology moves really fast in the crypto space. So, what was proprietary 2 years ago may not be proprietary now. And so we will deliver on, everything that we can in terms of a multi-chain DEX with or without that tech. So, yeah, and that doesn't mean that we're not involved and that we're not trying, but we just can't really, move forward where we are right now.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to make sure that, our community's safety is number one. And we want to see, um, you know, uh, absolutely an audit that says that it's absolutely safe and ready to go. And we want to see all the infrastructure there before we build.
Yep, 100%. And that might be, again, maybe a bit we can talk about on Sunday, or Saturday rather, with Jake from Dex Finance. So,
Yeah. And an explorer that shows, the gas details and whatnot.
for sure.
Awesome, guys. Well, I can't tell you like how emotional we've been getting here and there the last few days. It's just been such an amazing experience so far since the launch of Fusion. You guys are such a big part of that. We love you all so much, and we just know more than ever that we have the best community in crypto. Especially all you guys that have been here all along the way, through all the ups and downs. So thank you for being here. You you are making this such a special journey, and we couldn't do without you. And so we're excited for so many amazing moments and celebrations ahead. We can't wait till we all get to meet in person, whether it is later this year or early next year. And we're all celebrating in person this amazing protocol that we've all built together, and all the amazing yields that are coming in. And I might have this big backdrop that just says, "I told you so, haters."
I love it. Yes, no doubt, LA. Again, the momentum is unbelievable. All the community has really rallied around it, and what? Yeah, I even heard somebody saying we're gonna be on scheduling an EMP cruise, right, LA? Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, Florida Joe's gonna arrange that. He's got a guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with all the frequent flyer points Florida Joe has, we'll be able to rent out the whole cruise ship. So, yeah. Oh man. All right, awesome. Well, LA, I think we're gonna wrap it up then. Any final words for before we wrap it up?
Yes, you're a fucking champion. Let's go.
Oh, thank you, LA. No doubt. Yes, I couldn't do it without the support of you and the rest of the community. Again, I'm running on pure adrenaline, but it's been all worth it the entire time. And again, more AMAs to come. Even if we have to work 18-hour days, we'll make it happen. And we do work 18-hour days, so it's nothing new for us. But all right, awesome. On that note, then, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all for being here. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Um, join all of our socials for real-time updates of the protocols. Again, working into the migration of all the legacy contracts this week, and we'll have another mega update on Monday. So we hope all of you have an amazing weekend. Keep buying EMP and sacrificing it. Not financial advice, obviously, but we will continue to recover PEG and build our ownership of Fusion as a whole. So, all right, good night, good day. See you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.